Hello, this is Dr. Henri Roca of OneMedicine Wellness Services. And you see us talking a lot about the idea of morphing the mind. When we talk about morphing the mind, it means literally changing the patterns of our thoughts, but not just our thoughts, the patterns of how our neurons connect to one another. Because morphing the mind is not just about saying, I'm going to think about something differently. That does help. And for some folks, just the suggestion can make a difference as they think about things using a different way of seeing the world, or perhaps suspending a belief. But sometimes our brains are not plastic enough to make that change easily. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. And sometimes that work is not all based in the idea of shifting how one thinks or what one thinks. Sometimes we need to use functional medicine to help the brain become more plastic. Literally, we are set in our ways, but even more than being set in our ways and set in our thinking, our brains get stuck in the way they process and use and move information. This means that our neurons don't reach out and touch other neurons. We don't make new connections. It's just difficult for our brains to do that, and lots of things can cause that. Inflammation can cause that. Toxins, infections can cause that. Hormone imbalances, too much of a nutrient, too little of a nutrient. Even our gut flora, the bacteria that live in our gut, can communicate with our brain in such a way that either can make it more likely to be able to change or less likely. All of these things can affect how we ultimately shift and change our mind. Morphing the mind is way more than just working with our thoughts, feelings, memories, and our experiences. Very often, functional medicine is the key that helps us move forward faster. This is critically important. Critically important. If you've been doing the same work with your mood, with your way of thinking, with your behaviors, you'd like to behave differently, but you just can't seem to. If you have compulsions or even addictions, and you've done the work and continued to do the work, well, recognize that some of this is not just about thinking. It's really a physiologic disease process that can settle in. Functional medicine can often help us find the key to having that be different. Consider functional medicine when you're thinking about morphing the mind.